Hello. In the last update, I spoke about the doors a little bit. So this door, I finally got it in place, and so I just wanted to go through it. Here we have the CRV hinges. Before I had just one at the top, but it's a little too floppy, so got another one down there. The lighting doesn't want to work with me, but the firewall is starting to get shaped in a little bit better. So it's actually solidified and welded in, not all the way, but welded in enough. This, mostly for what we're doing here, this front panel was welded in, and now this box doesn't move around so much. It's still just 18 gauge plate, and so this section right here is unsupported, and it does wobble a little bit, but this is the door actually hung in place, and you can see we have pretty good panel gaps. Like up here, it's a little bit thicker, but pretty solid. And that's ideal. That's all good enough. And between these two panels is about perfect. It's probably a little tight right there in the front, but with almost like working on an old car, you can just mess around with the hinges a little bit and get some more out of it. And yeah, of course I don't have the handle in there, but I got Miata parts to deal with that. Yeah, there's the door. It actually sets in the right place every time you open it. And the inner structure is just these 18 gauge sheets that have a 90 on them. You can see they're open on the inside, but mostly it didn't matter to close them off. These are already plenty strong for the door. There's a 3/4 inch square tube, 16 gauge square tube in the bottom to solidify it, and also it gives you a nice straight edge to work with, so when you're off on the bottom cut. I need to put another one in the top just to make sure that this isn't wobbly and to tie the two parts together. And as before, the door is not wobbly. The top is a little bit, but it's also not really welded in. Here, there's a bit of play in here. This whole section still needs to be blocked off with however I'm going to do that, and making this section is part of finishing up the firewall and bringing it up to the roof there. And yeah, that's how that went. These are both, the front and the back are identical, and then this extra panel was made after the fact to bolt into here. It's just simpler to make those two parts separate. And I'll probably put a structural beam from somewhere in right here to the back, wherever like a crash bar for wherever the latch sits, which will go right on into that spot. Yeah, that's how that went. I'm happy to have gotten that done. It's a big part of the car is actually on it now. And yeah, the gaps are still good. There's a little bit of play in the front panels, but yeah.